That seems simple enough to me. Give people more money, they spend more money. But then again, like we've said multiple times on this podcast, it is not about raising revenue. It is about control. But there's also this claim that the bill is going to add to the federal debt. What is that? I mean, that's just more leftist rhetoric nonsense, because you can't add to the debt without spending. So cut spending.
Well, yeah, they're cutting spending. There's no question about that, Josh. But the truth of the matter is they're not cutting it enough. All right, that's the reality. And again, looking at the 2023-2024 economic model of roughly $6.7 trillion of spending, I mean, that's got to be hacked remarkably more than what the Doge is coming up with right now. So when you add the tax cuts and the spending cuts to the otherwise fixed spending that the government engages in, yeah, you're going to have more debt. You're going to have long-term debt going forward. There's no doubt about that. We cannot get our arms around this debt until we get our arms around the spending. And they just too many people in the country are not willing to do that. Here's the thing that I've said for decades, Josh, really, and that is this. You take 1,000 people and you ask those 1,000 people whether the federal government spends too much money. And 999 of those people will probably say, yeah, the federal government spends too much money. You ask those same 1,000 people whether a particular program should be cut, and most of those 1,000 people will say, no, you can't cut that program. That program does good for these people, or that program does good for this activity, or this purpose, or this cause, right? So, but here's what the reality is. You can't cut spending generally unless you're willing to cut spending specifically. So we have to be able to look at this and say, we can't afford these programs anymore. The stuff has to be cut. And we still, regardless of what's going on with Doge, we are still not at the point where people are willing to do that.
First of all, you're absolutely right about the thing. If you ask any individual person, you can't have my specific gravy train, but cut everyone else's.
Right. Subsidy. You leave your hands off my favorite subsidy.
The only exception in my mind, which is my favorite subsidy, is of course the U.S. military, which of course could be hacked by a third, probably, or if not more, and still operate in the exact same capacity. So I don't know.
Well, there's no question that there's waste, fraud, and duplication in the military. That's undeniable. All right, a person would be a fool to suggest that there isn't. But the fact of the matter is that the military is not a subsidy in the sense that it's a constitutionally required program. The Constitution requires the federal government to support a national defense,
of course,
defending the vital interests of the United States. So it's not a subsidy in that sense.